Someone's about to get their ass kicked if they don't play better music.
Sir, this is Disney World. Right. There are families here.
Oh, what happened this week, Sal? We got nothing going into it and you end up with what you end up, right?
Why wouldn't you listen to this podcast?
Don't know about the future. Don't.
They don't care about the future, because they live it in the past. Sal and Curtis are taking all 5 seasons of Blossom to task. You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll be weak in the knees. This show's got more range than this on the keys. Only gal in the house, and that's how she goes. One brother was a junkie, and the other one was. Weekly lessons coming fast in the Russo flat. Blossom's teenage girl problems are as big as her hat. So take your opinionations and make them shine. It's the OK Bloomer podcast, and it's about damn time.
Don't know. Don't know.
Run for the border.
Yeah.
Let's tee this up.
Is that racist? Because I thought about the name after the episode.
My first line is, sounds alarmingly racist,
right?
But let's go.
Okay, man. We're on Season 2, Episode 8. As you said, Run for the Border. It first aired November 11th, 1991. You ready for 2 polar opposite synopses?
Hit me.
All right. Disney Plus said, 6 stays with the Russos, semicolon, 6's parents are splitting.
It's Splitsville for 6's parents.
TVDB lays it out a little better. It sounds like a completely different episode from this description. Joey gets a job in a Mexican cafe and falls for a colleague, but she only speaks Spanish. 6 worries about her parents getting divorced. Tony saves a famous photographer's life.
That's a little more in depth.
Yeah, right? Like, complete opposites.
It's funny that I've grown to love the lazy, vague ones more than the actual proper ones at this point in the review.
Yeah, there's a little bit of respect there for these ones now because they're just so painfully bad.
Well, before it was like, we'd bounce off the walls being like, what the hell? Oh, this is so lazy. Which they still are, but now that we have a real one, it's like, yeah. Some people do their jobs, and it's not quite as funny. You know?
Oh, good for you. You did your job properly.
I know. What are a couple of dudes doing a podcast on Blossom 30 years after the fact gonna riff on now?
Yeah.
Now that you've done your job properly. Okay, IMDb says, Joey meets the girl of his dreams. However, there is one problem. She doesn't speak English. Fearing that her parents are getting divorced, 6 begins to spend more of her time at Blossom's house.
That's pretty good.
It's always in the middle.
It's the third bowl of porridge. That's what that
right.
is. Exactly.
It is. IMDb is the third bowl of porridge.
Yeah.
How confusing would that be on a shirt?
That should be a shirt. You're welcome, IMDb.
It would say, IMDb is the third bowl of porridge, then the OK Bloomer podcast symbol at the bottom. People would be like, take my money.
Can we sell that merch? Are we allowed to market that?
Probably. I don't see why not.
Amazing.
IMDb wouldn't care if we used their logo.
No. Why would they?
That's how IPs work.
We have a cold open once again.
We sure do.
It's a new thing.
Start us off, Sal.
Well, Blossom's on her bed polishing her trumpet. And that's not a euphemism.
And then a hand pops up from below the bed.
Yeah, and it's like throwing trash
and I
from
got
the
excited.
floor.
I said, are we starting with a Muppet? How awesome would that have been?
Alf's back. So there's trash from the floor coming up onto Blossom's bed. And then 6 pops up. She's cleaning up under Blossom's bed. She finds a sandwich that's older than she is.
So still trash.
Yeah.
Coming up from under the bed.
Ah, poor 6. She's going through a rough time.
Yeah, I know.
So 6 is cleaning Blossom's room frantically. Blossom is aware of something that's going on in Blossom's life, clearly. When she starts to call her out on it, 6 decides to bail. Joey walks in the room and thanks her for painting his room. 6 says she didn't paint it, she just cleaned it.
I put a little side note that I said, deep down though, 6 really wanted to paint his room, if you know what I mean. And I wrote, say that in a dirty uncle voice and hope Sal doesn't call you out on it because that's not a thing.
What?
Painting his room, you know what I mean, Sal? I love Joey's green sweater, by the way. I was jealous of that sweater.
Yeah.
That was the sweetest color of green I've ever seen on a sweater.
Hey, green's like his color in this episode.
Right?
Yeah, comes back later on.
Green has been my favorite color my whole life, and maybe that's just because I'm trying to channel Joey Lawrence.
Could be. Subconsciously from 1991, you picked this up and have carried it through the rest of your life.
Joey says, I'm dead. And Blossom asks if he could die later because she's busy.
Nice.
He says, I'm dead because I dented Dad's car again. Some lady hit him. And Blossom goes, how fast was she going? She was parked. And I saw that joke coming, and I still really enjoyed it.
Yeah, same. And so Blossom was like, I thought you said she hit you. And he's like, she did with her purse when she saw what I did to her car.
They went 2 lines too long with that cold open, because hitting when it was parked was way funnier than being hit with her purse. It kind of, took a step back. They should have just cut it right there to the cold opening. But
I didn't mind it.
No, just the... How fast was she going? She was parked. I thought was like that actually made me laugh out loud. But then they did I thought she said she hit you. She did with her purse. I was like, that's about a 6 or a 7. Where she was parked was a 10.
Well, whether or not it was live, they may have edited in a laugh break here, and that's the end of the cold open. And this one actually ties into the episode, whereas last week's it was random. This one actually ties into the overall story of the entire episode.
That's true. It was random last week, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I never thought of that.
Yeah, it had nothing to do with the actual show. So, yeah.
Sal, it did not ask me to skip the intro this week. It didn't give me the option. It knows. It's learned.
Disney
the
Plus
algorithm figured me out. For the record, we get Blossom of Agrabah once again this week.
Nice.
As she comes out of her flip, she's dressed like a genie. And as I typed that, spell check actually made the joke for me even funnier, because it ended up saying she's Agrabah AF.
She sure is.
Sweet hotel bar keyboard instrumentals. This was a constant when we stayed at the resort for the last 2 weeks of my life, Sal. Every night there was the same dude, just one guy and a keyboard, doing really bad jazz music, and it sounded exactly like the bridges in the Blossom show. It was in that same tone, and it was just this dude who was always just like, Ricky, don't lose my number. But it was the same, whatever setting it is on a keyboard. I imagine the setting is called 1991.
Yeah, right? And you're just drunk at the bar being like, play the Blossom theme. Play the Blossom theme.
I was like, in my opinionation, someone's about to get their ass kicked if they don't play better music.
Sir?
You know what I mean?
Sir, this is Disney World. There are families here. It is 2:00 in the afternoon.
And I'm like, keep those White Claws coming, everyone. Beer is wild there.
How so?
They have twist-off caps.
Yeah.
So you can, seal your beer after. I don't know, it's just weird. I love it.
Yeah, they come in, aluminum bottles, don't they?
Yeah. With twist-on caps.
Yeah.
So I'd get one, in the morning, and I'd have some, and I'd twist the cap back on and put it in a little hotel fridge, and then we'd get back, and I'd finish it. I was like, man, I'm living.
Wow.
Right? My wife was like, look at you, Mr. Trump. And I was like, I know, right?
And you were like, shut up, bitch, go get me another one.
I was grabbing her by the pee from the beginning. I didn't know where to go with that joke, but in my head it was really
well
funny.
Done. That was well done.
Yeah, you should have given me a heads up. I would have had something really good there, and it could have been we should start loosely scripting the show.
Yeah, that's probably a better idea, considering we have nothing going into it.
No.
And we end up with what we end up with.
Such is life, Sal. We got nothing going into it, and you end up with what you end up, right?
Why wouldn't you listen to this podcast?
Right now, there's one of our 3 listeners that's going yeah, guys, we realize you didn't do any prep. You didn't have to say that aloud.
You don't have to actually acknowledge it.
So this guy's like, every night, Ricky, don't lose my number. And I wrote, I get why all Floridians carry guns. We come back and, we start running through the usual suspects. Judy D. Alley's back.
Yep.
B. Rich.
JDA.
And damn, there is some serious clapping going along with that instrumental. Did you hear that?
No.
There was the Too Many Cooks, and then it was just the synth keyboard instrumental, and I don't know if it was the studio audience clapping along or if they just added clapping, but I was into it.
All right.
Double RS returns.
I noticed this episode written by Brenda Hampton.
Yeah.
No Cain.
What?
No Cain.
She dropped Cain?
Yeah.
That's gotta be Cain.
I looked up her IMDb, and I think we've gone through her resume, but...
You looked up her IMDb. She is indeed single, and the wedding in June is off.
It's over.
This is my one shot. I'm sorry,
My one shot with the 85-year-old Brenda Hampton. No, the only credit to her.
Brenda Hampton, a Carter. What do you say? Huh? We'll write beautiful screenplays together, if you know what I mean.
So I looked it up, and Brenda Hampton, her only credit as Brenda Hampton Cain is for the one episode of Blossom the Geek, and that's it.
So she was married for like that one.
She was
like,
either married
period?
or after that she just decided to drop the cane.
Huh.
She decided she could walk on her own and she didn't need no cane.
I was gonna say she was healed by some preacher because she dropped the cane. Now, Brenda, I'm gonna need you to rise. No, where you're going, you don't need no cane. That's my southern preacher.
Yeah. Say it with me, Brenda. I don't need no cane.
He's whacking her in the knee with the Bible. The Lord says, heal this woman. Lord, heal this woman. Lord, heal this woman. Walk. Walk, Brenda. You will drop that cane. And she's crying. I see it. I see the Lord. He is good. I don't need cane no more.
I used to watch that. There was like that one guy that was on like Saturday mornings. I used to watch it ironically when I was probably like 12. I was like, man, this shit is so ridiculous.
Right? The best, though, is people make YouTube compilations of, like, jump cuts of that guy, and it's amazing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, have you seen the, like, Doomsday guy?
Probably.
There's one preacher that keeps getting in trouble and getting sued because he's just preaching Doomsday, and he sells products where it's, like, honest to God, Sal, like, I'll try to find some links. You can buy from him, like, from his website,
yeah,
this, like, 27 kilogram thing of, like, pancake mix.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Like,
that's right. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Anyway, so we start, and Buzz is sitting on the couch, and Six is telling him a story.
I already don't like this.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
He's telling her a story. He goes, and to make a long story short, Six says, oh no, make it as long as you want. And somewhere exists a 37-segment clip of jump cuts as Buzz says something dirty after every take, and the director yells, cut.
Yeah, totally. It's like, there's kids on set, man. Jesus.
Yeah. Don't do that again. All right, I won't. Oh, no. Make it as long as you want. Oh, yeah. Cut. One more time, bud. One more time. I'm sorry. I can't help it.
Yeah, so Six says that she has time to listen to his old man ramblings, which I'm glad he got cut off because we don't. He's talking about being backstage at the Tonight Show, and then he name drops a bunch of famous Jackies. And then the punchline is about Mrs. Kennedy. Mrs. Kennedy was also there, and Six says Jackie, and he says no, Ethel.
I begrudgingly laughed at that.
Yeah.
Thought that was funny. So you also missed Jay Gold and John Pree are back.
Okay.
And bringing up the rear of the team, and what a rear. It's everyone's favorite member of the Supremes. It's Fly Girl Roxy Wank Evans.
That's our girl.
And I also thought this was funny that we can relate because you and I have a mutual friend, Jackie, and a lot of nights there's 7 dudes and only one Jackie, so it's like the opposite of that story.
Oh, God.
Played out in our real life.
Mutual friend. I met her once.
So you were number 4?
Everybody's behind.
Oh, no.
Nick comes in pissed off. That's the Nick we know and love.
No, this is money. He opens the door and he says, hi, people who don't live here. I'm home. I already like this episode.
Yeah, Blossom and Joey comes downstairs. Blossom's like, oh, Six, I thought you left. And then she's like, I'm just leaving. And then Nick goes, take Buzz with you. Slow clap to that. That's great.
Right?
Yeah.
Did you already notice the pacing of this episode is clipping?
Oh, yeah, especially with the next part.
Yeah.
The whole exchange where Joey, like, wants to talk to Nick, and he's like, oh, Dad. And then Nick, like, knows something up. He's like, Joey, Dad, Joey. And then he, like, turns, is like, Blossom, and Blossom's like, Joey, Dad. And, like, they just keep going back and forth.
Yeah, I said we dip into, like, I don't know, old-timey comedy timing with Joey, Nick, and Blossom. And again, this is actually making me laugh.
Yeah, it's a
out loud.
funny exchange. Nick instantly knows that it's something about the car. He freaks out, grabs Joey by the collar, like, what happened to my car?
Joey Lawrence's acting makes this dumb scene believable.
Right? So Joey says he pulled into his usual space at the mall, but somebody was already in it.
Yeah, and then it cuts to Buzz. He goes, they should put the airbag on the outside of the car. What is happening? Nothing but home runs this episode.
Yeah.
I don't know if it just looks really dated. But every time Nick, like, grabs Joey by, like, his collar and hoists him around threateningly like he's gonna punch his son in the face, it just looks really forced and fake. And I don't know if I would have felt that way watching this in 1991, but in 2021, it's like, you know?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's not even uncomfortable. It just really takes me out of the moment, because I don't know if I've ever seen anybody's parents do that to them, ever.
Besides Homer, like, choking out Bart. It's basically that.
Yeah, I guess that. Simpsons would have been on at the same time.
Like,
so.
I definitely don't think you'd see it on a sitcom now or in the last, I don't know, 20 years, but...
in the last 29 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
We transition to the kitchen,
Yes.
where Anthony is getting 6 drunk, and then Nick has left his house out the front door and has gone around back and
they
comes
come in the back.
inside
It was
from the
so
back door.
confusing. It was like...
That leads to the kitchen.
Yeah. Okay, is Tony actually getting 6 drunk here? He's teaching her how to make an old-fashioned.
Right.
And it's like he's holding whatever booze is in an old-fashioned. I couldn't tell you.
The real old-fashioned is when younger women fell for older men.
What?
That's old-fashioned right there.
Okay.
I thought that's where Anthony was going.
Yeah, I mean, it made
He's like,
sense.
You know what else? You know what else is old-fashioned? Marrying up. So Nick asks, "What's wrong with this picture?" And then he goes, "Too much club soda." And I said, "That one is not only a home run; it gets hit into the stadium lights, causing sparks that look like fireworks." This episode is just an absolute triumph so far.
I like hearing your opinion about this because I was kind of just
Yes!
like, I was kind of meh for the whole thing, but
Really?
yeah.
Okay, it just keeps escalating. I'll come back to it.
All right.
And then suddenly off camera we hear, but we don't see Buzz yelling, "Help, I'm falling and I can't get up without a drink." Whatever they are doing this week, they need to keep doing this.
Help, I've fallen and I can't get up from the famous Lifeline commercials,
Yeah.
the 80s and 90s. I did a bit of a deep dive on that just to
Do it.
refresh some memory. Just the legacy of the commercial. By 1990, the Phoenix New Times reported that from coast to coast, from playground to ballroom, an enfeebled whine rigs out across the land. All together now, I've fallen and I can't get up. The catchphrase appeared on t-shirts, novelty records, and in stand-up comedy. In 1992, a sample of this catchphrase was featured in parody artist Weird Al Yankovic's song, I Can't Watch This. The phrase was parodied on several television shows, including Golden Girls, Family Matters, Roseanne, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and Blossom.
Yes. Roseanne's career has fallen and it can't get up, by the way.
Right?
I don't know if I ever remember seeing that actually on TV. You know what I mean?
I just remember everybody talking about it.
Yeah. It's like, it's Patrick. He took out life insurance. I can't remember ever seeing that commercial.
Yeah.
And I watch it now on YouTube and I'm like, it's so familiar, but I don't know if I ever saw it in real time.
Probably around this time, I remember that was the phrase. It was like,
Oh, totally.
it was the where's the beef of the 90s, you know?
Yeah. Nick asks Tony if he should be giving advice on bartending, and Anthony says that priests give advice on sex. Bam. Since some member of the Vatican was watching this live and he gets super pissed, he throws down the TV remote control and the child and stomps out of the living room to make a phone call.
I knew it was going there.
There's nowhere else for it to go.
Yeah. Nick says his recovering alcoholic son is teaching a neighborhood teenager how to mix drinks. He says, maybe I can still get that Father of the Year award.
And out of nowhere, I did not see this coming. I feel like I thought I had the flow of the episode and like the arc and what's going to happen, and out of nowhere, suddenly Anthony introduces another side story where he says the famous photographer Sergio is coming to do a family portrait because Anthony saved his life. He was choking on meat and he almost, as they say, flashed his last bulb. And then they have an amazing cutaway of Blossom and Joey reacting to each other. And I didn't realize how much I love that dynamic when those two kind of pair off and react against Anthony's weirdness.
Yeah, it's great.
It's always rewarding. Always rewarding.
It's good stuff. Nick's kind of reluctant about it, and then Anthony says it's free, and then Nick's into it. And then Blossom decides that she has to go to the mall to get a new dress and a haircut for the picture. And then Nick's like, oh, this free picture, or this free portrait's not turning out to be so free after all.
First of all, my mind is bending on what celebrity they will get to play the part of Sergio, because that sounds like an absolute home run in 1991. They're going to get some macho guy, like it's going to be Arnold.
Yeah, I was thinking
like,
the same thing.
spandex, right?
Yeah.
Blossom points out that they don't have any family pictures where Nick hasn't drawn a mustache on Mom. And Nick says, hey, I like her that way, which, my man, I'm not here to judge, but being turned on by your wife when she had a mustache was not a common conversation men had back in 1991.
I don't know if that's exactly where the joke was going, but yeah, all right.
Right on.
So they all leave and go to the mall. Six, Anthony, and Blossom. Joey tries to escape. Nick tells him to stop. Joey's moping here is hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
I love when we get mopey Joey.
Mopey Joey sounds like a hamburger shop. You gals want to head to Mopey Joey's? All right. Is Biff going to be there? He made 2 touchdowns last night. Why you always got to talk about that guy? Come on.
What is this? 1930s.
I don't know why I'm in the 50s now.
I don't know what the hell's going on here. So Nick says to Joey, this time you're going to have to pay. Joey goes, okay, but you're going to have to give me a bigger allowance.
Then he's like, you got to get a job. And he goes, is it okay if I ask you something and you promise you won't be mad? And Nick goes, I'm already mad.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever laughed this hard, this consistently at an episode of Blossom.
Wow.
Yeah. And Joey's like, can I borrow the car to look for work? And then Sal, for the first time ever, we have Too Many Cooks, the Mall edition.
Yeah.
And what were your thoughts on this? He's being interviewed by like an old mob guy, explaining what it's like to work in a Mexican restaurant.
Yeah, I wrote Joey's interviewing with Jabba the Hutt, and he's wearing a green suit.
Jabba's, yeah, see, I thought he was like an old Italian mob guy.
No,
I
he
thought
was just
what
like,
they were going
he
for.
was just like a big fat slob.
Sorry.
I don't really know how to describe him.
He did not look appealing.
Well, it was a Mexican restaurant. Why would
It was
he
a
be
Mexican
Italian?
restaurant, but he wasn't Mexican. Like,
Was he not?
I didn't think so. I thought he was giving off like mob vibes.
Oh, interesting.
I was very confused by that. You would have thought, okay, it's a Mexican restaurant. Like, this idiot's going to be in a sombrero, right? He's going to answer by shaking maracas. Because, 1991.
Yeah, that's true.
But no, he was just kind of this, like, slobby guy. But he was... I don't know why I thought. He just... Something gave me a mob vibe. And I thought that was going to play off a little later. Where he's going to be like, look, you got to take this out back, okay? Now, this bag goes in the garbage and this bag goes into the car out back.
And this rolled up carpet goes over the bridge.
Right? Whoa.
The old fat slob is asking how bad Joey wants this job. Joey tells him about the kind of trouble that he's in. And all I'm thinking is, this restaurant would never pass the health inspection.
And he's explaining it, and he says, then you go back into Hannibal Lecter's kitchen. That's really funny. And Joey Lawrence, again, just soaking up this scene with his incredible reactions. Like, this guy has range that he gets no credit for. Like, every time they cut to Joey, I'm laughing. He's just going through, he's just putting on this tour de force of facial expressions. And so this guy tries to make the job sound but then this super hot server walks by, and Joey's like, I can start tonight. And I said, and scene, and also ends the painfully accurate retelling of restaurant dynamics.
Right? So yeah, I wrote about this interview. Joey's doing Charlie work for $2 an hour after taxes.
It pays off, though.
Yeah.
I can relate, man. I met my wife working at A&W.
Well, there you go. Doing Charlie work?
Complete Charlie work. There's no part of working at A&W that isn't Charlie work.
Yeah, fair enough. I never really worked in fast food or anything like that.
Really? Yeah. That's fascinating. Good for you.
I did the grocery store scene.
Yeah, that's probably similar. You lose all hope in humanity in either job.
Oh, easily. Easily.
Grocery probably isn't quite as gross as fast food.
No.
My first day of orientation in A&W, I walked into the kitchen, like, they at least at A&W kind of divide, at least they did back in the day, divide you between like they treat it like a restaurant, like there's the kitchen staff and the front staff.
Yeah.
And I got hired for front staff, so I never had to be in the kitchen and cook. But when they took me for orientation, toured me around, we went to the kitchen, and the first thing I saw was this lady making onion rings, and there was one of those white pails, those like dirty white pails they have in every kitchen that either holds food or like rainwater dripping from the ceiling.
Yeah.
She was holding up both hands, and she was making like claws with her fingers, and in each finger was an onion ring, and then she put her hands upside down and dunked both of them up to like her like elbows in this pail of like batter.
Oh, dear God, man.
That is the first thing I ever saw, like 30 seconds into my orientation at A&W.
Oh, I'm never eating at
like,
A&W, man.
Yeah,
I'm at least not
I was
getting the
about to.
onion
I was
rings.
about to quit, but the ladies were hot,
You totally
and I
pulled a
married
Joey.
one of them.
Wow.
Oh, totally pulled a Joey.
Wow, good for you, man.
I think my future wife actually spoke Spanish to pretend she didn't speak English, so she didn't have to talk to me the first time she met me. So there's so many similarities here.
Yeah.
We head back home, and Buzz and Anthony are sitting on the couch looking at pornography.
Yeah. I was
You
like,
think I would be surprised at this, but I was like, I'm just going to let this happen because this episode hasn't let me down yet. So let's see what happens here.
all right.
Joey comes home. He goes, I'm in love. And Anthony looks at the magazine and says, me too. And Joey dunks on his older brother and goes, yeah, I met a real girl.
Yeah, right.
And then Anthony holds up the magazine and Joey stares at it and goes, and now I know what to buy her for Christmas. Like, oh, what happened this week, Sal? This is just like, this is the most relentless writing I've ever seen on the show. It's like, they are not giving you time to breathe. It is just one-liner after one-liner after one-liner. And they all land.
Brenda Hampton dropped the Cain, and she's dropping
Right?
bombs on this script, man.
She dropped the Cain and picked up humor. Like, picked up some writing classes or something.
Yeah, totally. So Nick's asking him to tell him about the job, but he's just describing the girl.
Oh my god, this gets just better and better. She has beautiful eyes and beautiful hair, and when she smiles at me, she has no idea what I'm thinking. Really roll that around in your head. That is goddamn poetry. That may be the most accurate thing like I have ever heard.
Well, this one got a big reaction when Joey says she's the first girl who's ever had an effect on more than one part of his body.
Right?
The audience came unglued for that.
Joey Lawrence can barely make it through that line without, like, he has about 2 seconds away from completely losing it. He gets to the last word, and yeah, the ladies in the crowd erupt, and all of them just suddenly slide off their chairs at once, hooting and hollering.
Yeah.
They had to have felt good shooting this episode. You know what I mean? There's a weird energy to this where they know everything they're doing is working.
Yeah, they're getting that instant feedback where they're like, all right, yeah, this
You
is
you see that in the photo scene we're coming up to in a little bit.
totally, yeah.
It's bleeding into real life where they are laughing and having fun.
Yeah, I agree. Blossom comes in and goes, hey, did you get a job? And Joey tells her, yeah, I got a job at a Mexican restaurant. Then walks out. And Nick's all like, how did she do that?
So Blossom goes into her room and Six is in her closet, which
Yeah.
is surprising because if I had to guess, I would have said Blossom.
I knew that joke was coming.
Let's get to the bottom of what's troubling Six, Sal.
Yes, let's do it. Let's get ready for a serious
it.
moment here, Curtis. Blossom questions her, like, why she's at her house so much. And then she starts to see the parallels between what's going on with Six's parents and what's going on with Six right now and what was going on with her when her parents were divorcing. So she comes to that conclusion almost right away. And then Six starts kind of getting angry and then goes into a cry. And then they hug. And it's like a really serious moment, like acting props for Jenna Von Oy here.
Great scene by both of them. I thought Blossom played it really well, too.
Yeah, for sure.
It seemed like that's how it would play out.
I think so.
And complete props to those two for pulling it off. Because they don't usually go that real in scenes together.
No, and that's why when Six was like kind of berating her when she was like mad, I was expecting there to be like a punchline on the end of it.
Yeah, no, it was good stuff.
Fade to commercial break from there.
They peppered in just enough low-key humor into that.
Yeah.
You know, like Six is blaming herself and Blossom's giving her experience with parental divorce, and Six goes, yeah, but my parents are normal. Yours are musicians.
Right.
It worked so well. It was a moment of like levity, but also not like laugh track pause, you know?
And I mean, like, I don't know this situation at all, but Six is doing what seems to be kind of normal here. So Blossom's asleep in her room and Six is sitting in the window writing notes, and then Blossom wakes up and asks her what's going on, and Six is writing notes about what her parents did wrong and what she did wrong. Like, she's blaming herself for what's happening.
Totally.
And she's basically saying, like, if they didn't have her, they wouldn't have all these expenses. They could have been living in France with Robin Leach.
That's a callback.
She's saying that her parents are arguing about money, and then Blossom says, well, it's more normal to be divorced nowadays. So I had to look into that. In the U.S., divorce rates peaked in 1992. Yeah, in 1991 in the U.S., there were 4.1 per 1,000 of the population. And since then, they've almost steadily declined. In 2019, divorce rates were at 2.7 per 1,000.
Is that just because people don't get married anymore? That seems completely backwards.
I know,
to
right?
What I would have expected.
But yeah, in 92 was like the peak of divorces in the United States.
What was going on in 1992?
Yeah, I don't know. And then Six says, well, what happened to death do us part? And Blossom says, all those people are dead.
At the Mexican restaurant, Joey finally asks out the beauty. He pours his heart out to her, and she replies in Spanish.
Yes.
Mwah, mwah, mwah.
It was kind of obvious where it was going from the setup because she wasn't responding to anything that he was saying. She was just kind of smiling at him. But it was funny when he goes, I'd like to take you out to a movie. Is there any movie that you're dying to see? And she goes, no inglés. And he goes, who's in that? There's a lot of really quick scenes happening here in this episode.
Yeah, that's just the script.
Yeah.
I feel like in episodes past, Six coming around to the conclusion that she's the reason her parents divorced would have been like half the episode. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And here it was like 90 seconds.
Yeah, everything's really quick. Everything's hitting really quick in this episode.
It was like this was a two-parter, and then the studio was like, no, we got to make it into one, and that's why it is so well done.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what else to say. This script is moving twice as fast as it has been in the last few weeks, and I'm all for it. In comes Sergio.
Yeah. So Joey and Nick are on the couch waiting for Sergio to arrive. Tony answers, and it's Sergio.
I wrote Sal, ? Because I didn't bother looking him up.
Well, the first thing I wrote in my notes is it's Chandler's boss.
Is it?
Sergio walks in, he's smoking a cigarette, and he's holding a Polaroid on a tripod.
He opens a drawer and ashes in it.
Yeah.
Closes it. I had to pause. I was laughing so hard. Like, that is the greatest flex I've ever seen. I'm going to start smoking just so I can do that.
Just so you can do that.
So I can ash in someone's drawer.
What an asshole. They all start shitting all over his camera. Like, rightfully so. Nick's like, you have a Polaroid? He's like, I could have done this.
Blossom goes, are you going to use that camera? And he goes, are you going to wear that hat? And the audience felt that one. The audience didn't know what to do. And like every hat wearing girl in the crowd is like, wait, this isn't cool?
Yeah. You set this up for like a year and a half and now you're making fun of it?
Goes, are you going to wear that hat? And she goes, yeah. He goes, then what difference does it make what kind of camera I use?
Yeah.
Savage.
Good stuff. So yeah, he makes them all pose really stupidly. And then in walks Buzz wearing a toupee, and the audience loses their minds.
I was laughing more than he was dressed like Donald Duck.
Yeah, right? With like the blue suit and the bow tie.
I wrote here again, it said, they do not let you breathe in this episode.
Just the way he walks in with his stupid smile was pretty funny.
This is the only time I've liked Buzz.
With like the brown toupee like on his head, yeah.
And they cut away to everyone reacting to Buzz,
so
and I
good.
swear they didn't tell the actors ahead of time that he was going to do this, and those were legitimate reactions.
It might be right, because it was, yeah.
Because none of them seem like they're acting in character. Like, they're all just kind of like doing that deep belly, shoulder rising giggle at him, you know? Where you think Nick would be like rolling his eyes like, oh, this guy, are you serious? He's got a toupee. But they're all just like busting up in his face. I love it.
Buzz is acting like he didn't know that the picture was happening. And Tony's like, oh, I told you yesterday, Grandpa. And he goes, oh, well, I'd lose my head if it wasn't screwed on. And Joey goes, he puts that thing on with screws?
At first, though, the photographer says, oh, vey! And then I thought, I bet if Six, like Jenna Von Oy, ever posed for like Maxim magazine, the cover would have said, oh, vey, Von Oy.
I'm sure she did, and I bet you it did.
There's no way she did, because I would have all the copies. He squishes Six into the picture, and then they actually point out that she's not part of the family, which I was very happy about, because I hate when they do that in sitcoms.
Yeah.
Where they have moments like this, and the friend gets to be in the family picture.
Yeah.
So I was like about to roll my eyes for the first time, and then make the Russos kick her out of the picture. So we're still like having a perfect episode at this point.
Yeah. So then Nick doesn't want Buzz in the picture, and then they agree to let him in. They'll do a picture with him and a picture without. And then before they take the picture, Nick asks Buzz how he gets the cat on top of his head to sit so still. And then they all laugh. And it seems...
Yeah.
And this is the part where you're talking about. It's like, it seems super genuine. They're all just like cracking up. They do that TV thing where like he takes the picture and then it's a freeze frame, but it was like... there was like freeze frame and music, and I thought the episode was ending there.
Another funny line we missed is when they kick Blossom out of the picture. She goes, yeah, I'm not actually part of this family, but my family's doing just fine.
Oh, yeah, that was good, too, yeah.
Nick doesn't want Buzz to be in the picture. The family photo. Buzz says, hey, without me, you wouldn't have a family. And then the photographer, Sergio, goes, one piece of red meat, my life becomes a nightmare. Oh my god, this was such a wonderful scene. So Blossom stops by Joey's work, and she says this place is squalid.
Yeah, she immediately comments about how much of a shithole it is.
Great word. I have to start using squalid in my day-to-day conversation.
Yeah. And Joey thinks it's a good thing. He brought her in to translate.
Blossom is translating back and forth, and the girls are like hitting it off, which I thought was really nice.
Yeah.
I like that the Mexican gal wasn't just an idiot.
Oh, totally, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, I really like that they did that. They gave her some depth, and Blossom was like, oh, like, surprised that she actually wasn't some two-dimensional girl, which is what Joey's usually attracted to, right?
Yeah, well, like, Joey's also telling Blossom to, like, comment on her body and stuff, and then she doesn't do it.
Yeah, which is also good.
Yeah.
The girls are speed-talking back and forth, and it's close-up
Yeah,
of
the
Joey,
close-up
like,
of Joey's face,
ping-ponging
like...
back and forth. And again, it's just... It starts out so stupid, but then he, like, brings it in.
Yeah.
God, this guy does not get enough acting cred. Like, Joey Lawrence as an actor is such a, like, joke. And I'm sorry, but it is. It's true. You hear Joey Lawrence, you think of, like, Blossom and, like, primetime Hallmark movies.
Right.
But this guy can act. Like, this is almost a travesty that his career was set on that path where no one really takes him serious. So Joey asks to borrow $20 for the movies, and Blossom says, no way, Jose.
Yeah.
That was the first stumble of the episode, I said.
Yeah. So yeah, the girl agrees to go to the movies with Joey because Blossom really breaks the ice with her for him.
So what does Joey do? He's like, so you'll go to the movie with me? And she nods, and then he takes off his apron and walks right the f*** out of the restaurant.
My work here is done.
So good. Just quits on the spot.
Yeah.
Yep. Doesn't say anything to anyone, just walks out.
Just bounces.
That is such a, like, narcissistic Joey thing, right?
Yeah, it's like not even about making money for his dad's car anymore.
No,
it's
it's not
his
at
whole
all.
purpose was to get a date with this girl.
And he did it, so it's like, why is he still there?
Yeah.
Like, he had no problem scrubbing toilets and taking out garbage to get this date. Like, there was no, like, humiliation or feeling less than being forced to perform all these menial, disgusting tasks because his prize was getting a date with her.
Yeah. So next scene, Six is in the kitchen cleaning the Russo stove. Nick's in there pouring a cup of coffee, and he asks Six to sit down, and we get another serious scene. And is this the first major scene with Six and Nick together?
100%.
Nah. Nick says he talked to Six's mom and he knows what's going on with her parents. Her mom is worried about Six, and he tells her that her father moved out. It was a really serious scene where they kind of had a heart-to-heart, and I liked it. I thought it was good.
I didn't write word for word, but I wrote, man, this script is tight.
Yeah.
Like, they ride the ups and downs of a well-written, like, comedy/serious sitcom in this one. Like, they kill it. This is a great scene.
Yeah, 90% of this scene is serious, and Six says, well, what happened to staying together for the kids? And Nick asks her, like, would you want your parents to stay together and be miserable? She goes, yes. And then Nick basically explains, you know, all their problems that he had with his wife and when they were going through a divorce. And he said, you know, Blossom was going through the same thing that you're going through, and she was lucky to have a friend like you. And now it's like Blossom's turn to be there for her. And he says she's welcome in their home anytime, but go back and visit your mom.
He says she'll get through it the same way Blossom got through it, with a lot of help from her best friend. I was like, damn, the writing in this is so good this week.
Yeah. And then they got to end it with like a kicker here.
Yeah.
She goes, "Here's your toothbrush back, Mr. Russo." And then he realizes that's what she was scrubbing the stove with.
And then he lets it drop between his fingers.
Joey and Anna are on the couch.
They're on the couch, and despite the language barrier, they just start macking hard.
Yeah, there's a lot of language barrier jokes here. He says he couldn't afford popcorn, and then he pulls his pockets out and says he had no moolah. And then she says in Spanish that she understands him, she's not stupid. And then he hears stupida, and he goes, "Oh, stupida, she thinks I'm stupid. Or either that or I'm stupendous." He like totally just turns it around.
Yeah, they just start going at it, and then that ends the show, my friend.
Yeah.
It was a very, very weird ending.
Yeah, absolutely.
We get a scene under the credits with Joey and Anna cooking.
Yes.
And it ends where they just start, like, making out again.
Yeah. He's giving her first lesson in English, and then he's, like, naming all the stuff in the restaurant. He's like, "Repeat after me. Taco, burrito, tostada, guacamole."
I said, well, Sal, they stumbled over the finish line, but other than that, this is easily in my top 5, if not my top 3 episodes of this show so far.
Wow, man. Wow.
I said the pacing has never been better.
Yeah,
Why
fair
can't
enough.
they all be like this?
Like, talking it out, I agree with you. I definitely agree with you, but just watching it, I thought it was a middle-of-the-road episode. But the quick scenes, I think, really helped it. It really helped
100%.
move things along.
Like, I swear it was supposed to be 2 parts, and they cut it into 1, because it didn't hang like every other episode hangs.
Yeah.
They have filler in this, in almost every scene, and I know they got to fill 24 minutes, blah, 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 but there was none of that. Like, they'd cut this thing so quick, and there had to have been a reason for that. I don't know if they had just, like, the script was too long, but bravo. Whatever they were doing, they need to keep doing. This was a triumph, this episode, absolutely.
Good on you, Brenda Hampton. You don't need no Cain.
You don't need no Cain!
So you want to get to some pit characters?
I have nothing else written, so this is all you, Sal.
Excellent. Well,
Bring it home.
Sergio was played by actor Sam McMurray. As I said, he was Chandler's boss in Friends. He was also in Christmas Vacation. He's been in a lot of things. He's got a very lengthy resume. He's very familiar. I'm sure anybody that sees him would recognize him from something, but those were the 2 that stood out to me. Carla Montana as Anna. I was thinking, the way that they left this episode, like, is she coming back? So I looked it up, and she's another 2-time pit member as a different character. She comes back as another character named Barbara in 2 episodes after this one.
No way.
Yeah.
2 episodes from now.
Yes. So we've already seen it with Fred. So we've seen it a few times, so it's going to happen again, but there's very little time in between this, because in episode 10, Carla Montana comes back as Barbara.
Okay, I have sinned, Sal.
Uh-oh.
And I can't get past it.
Okay.
I cannot get past this.
Oh, no.
I never start watching the next episode until we review the current episode. However,
yes, I know.
It accidentally bled into the intro of the next one before I could turn it off, and I dropped my goddamn phone. Did you watch the intro to the next episode, a rockumentary, The Cold Open?
I did not. I saw the description, I saw the thumbnail, and I saw the title of it, and I thought, this one is going to be good, so I'm going to leave it.
I am just reading it right now, and that makes it a little... I didn't put too much thought into what was happening, but make sure you block off a decent chunk of time, because I could probably talk for an hour alone just on everything that happens in that first, 2-minute segment.
Amazing.
There are so many painfully 1991 celebrity cameos in the Cold Open, Sal. It's just
wow, crazy.
And it is nuts. I turned it off as soon as the "don't know about the future," which I guess would have been the first time in history, and then I had to just pace around the basement going what are we doing? What is this? But now that I'm looking at IMDb, reading the description, it makes a little more sense of what's going on, but holy crap. That was I still don't know what to think of it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good one, man. I'm looking forward to it. Season 2, Episode 9, Blossom, a rockumentary.
Don't know. Don't know. Don't know.
Let's go! gotta be Cain.